This is game 2 of the series between Maximus Decimus Meridius, who's playing Tylis, and Wolf Blademaster, who's going to be playing Parthia. Strap in, boys and girls. I think this is going to be a really good replay. We got Wolf Blademaster on Parthia, and props to him for bringing a build like this. A skirmish build on Nemo Tichenna with some Cataphract and Indian War Elephant support. I love seeing these kind of builds match up against the Barbarian Sword Rush meta. I think it's really interesting, kind of a game of cat and mouse, and who can break each other first. I like a couple things that Maximus has brought in this build here, something that you normally don't see too often when you see Barbarian Rushes, certainly on Nemo Tichenna. I really like that he brought these 3 Celtic Skirmishers. We'll see if he can make them pay off, but they're really, really good at killing Cataphracts. So if any Cataphracts get tied down with a Tribal Warrior with that 95 armor, he can get some jab shots at them. That could do a lot of damage. So I like that he brought those. It looks like Wolf Blademaster brought some Mercenary Sarmatian Horse Archers, 3 of those just to do some harassing. And out here, I want to kind of focus on this at the beginning of the battle because they're in actually a really horrible position right now. They have Parthian shot, so they can run away and kind of whittle away at the Raiding Horsemen, but the Raiding Horsemen are fast, just as fast as the Horse Archers, and so Wolf Blademaster's going to get out of position with these guys, and he's going to try to run away with them. And they're going to get shredded, and he can't get away, and they're going to keep getting shot in the back. He can't engage in melee because Raiding Horsemen have so much better melee stats. So he basically just kind of has to take it. He's going to lose this Horse Archer basically for free. Only 8 men left in the Raiding Horsemen. Actually, they're going to get caught in melee. And at the start of this battle, Sarmatian Horse Archers off the field already. If we want to look at Tylis' build a little bit more, he's got some Levy Freemen, of course, you would expect to see those with the Barbarian Sword Rushes. Couple Noble Horse, which could make a huge impact on this battle, provided that they're able to tie down some of these Cataphracts with some Levy Freeman support and some Celtic Skirmisher support. You could do a ton of damage there. And then, kind of the beginning of this battle is just going to be focusing on the Raiding Horsemen versus the Mercenary Sarmatian Horse Archers. And I think the Raiding Horsemen are just a much better unit. Now, Horse Archers are great, and they're really useful for a lot of different reasons. But I think that one of the reasons Barbarians are so good on this patch is because Jav Cav is ridiculously good. They're just used, and you can use them in so many different ways. And while a Horse Archer is never really going to be great in melee combat unless you're like a Noble Horse, the 880 talent kind, the Raiding Horsemen have pretty amazing melee stats. These kind of Jav Cav, like, they have high charge bonus, 25, kind of decent armor at 45, good health, like, and the Javs just do so much damage. So we'll see if he can actually kind of isolate some of these Horse Archers, which are going towards the red line at the moment. And it looks like Wolf Blademaster's main line is starting to move up. And I'm really interested to see what those guys do, the Elephants and the Cataphracts do in melee combat. As I talk about that, some of the Horse Archers are going to get caught a little bit, and I believe they're on skirmish mode, and they're kind of caught, and he's going to pull away. We'll see if the Raiding Horsemen can finish them off. They're running directly at the red line, and this is where skirmish mode gets really buggy. When you get next to the red line, skirmish mode really doesn't work very well at all, and they often just won't run away. And yep, this Horse Archer is going to die. They're going to take one more jab throw and then just get charged in the rear. He's going to have to commit them into melee, and in melee combat they have absolutely no hope of beating the Raiding Horsemen. So 2 of the Horse Archers actually already off of the field. And so far, I wouldn't really say that Wolf Blademaster has done a great job of microing his Horse Archers. And they're not the most important unit by any means, but I think you want them to do a little bit more damage than they've done so far. Raiding Horseman down to 44 men and the other one down to 52. Like, that's not really worth their price at all. So in the middle here, Wolf Blademaster considering how he's going to take this man engagement. I love it because he's playing the long game. He realizes it's going to be a long time before he can crack this army composition. He's going to have to be very cautious with his skirmishers. One of those Noble Horse gets a charge off into the Parthian Foot Archers. He's going to be in really big trouble. But very patient with the Elephant as well. And that's one thing. The Celtic Skirmishers are going to make a big impact in this battle for no other reason that if he uses them well, they're going to kill the Elephants and make them run amok really quickly. So you have to be very, very careful with a unit that costs that many talents, that runs amok that quickly. They're kind of a glass cannon now at this point. I mean, they don't die very quickly, but they can become useless very quickly if they don't run amok in a unit that actually matters. So, again, Wolf Blademaster going to have to be very, very cautious with how he engages, and probably not want to commit those War Elephants into melee combat until some of the main line has already been engaged by Cataphracts and maybe tied down by some Eastern Spearmen and Persian Hoplites. So, last Horse Archer out in the back, again, going to be mismicroed by Blademaster, get killed by the raiding horsemen, and yeah, that's all his horse archers off the field now at this point, and that's not ideal. I mean, Maximus did a great job there, isolating all those horse archers, getting them off the field, and now it looks like Blademaster's going to start targeting the O-Sword, and I like this. I think this is a pretty smart idea. Whittle down their HP, make it easier for when cataphract charges come in to just kind of shred them. And I mean, they're already taking a lot of HP damage. They've lost 11 men so far from a couple volleys. And he's going to continue to shoot. And the thing is, Maximus can't really pull away right now. If he times it incorrectly, they're going to get shot in the back and lose even more men in HP. So he can't really run away until he chases them off. And now I'd like to see him move his O-Sworn General back, because he really doesn't have any reason to have that in the middle there at the front line. In fact, I think that might be a really bad place for them to be, because if the elephant comes right at the center, if the Celtic skirmishers don't get enough time to shoot into the elephants, they could just kind of die. And when a barbarian general dies, it's a really big problem, because none of these units are disciplined. So barbarian general dying, big deal if that happens. So he's going to have to be really careful and make sure he doesn't get shot too much more here. They're down to 98, taking more volleys, down to 90 men now. And we're going to be on general watch right now. Like, this is important. They're getting whittled down. They've lost 40 men. That's a lot of killing power right there that he's already lost. I would expect him to pull that back relatively soon, but he hasn't done so yet. Like what he's doing with the Celtic warriors. Just kind of chasing off the skirmishers, but he's not really doing anything with it, though. Like, what I would kind of expect from Maximus right now is just to rush at Parthia and like tie down those hoplites and stuff. And maybe he doesn't feel comfortable doing that because there are elephants and cataphracts in the vicinity. But I think that's the easiest way to beat this kind of build is to just out-micro your opponent and kind of make them get distraught, because they have to do so much more micro than you do. Like, Blademaster has to do so much micro to skirmish down these tribal warriors and skirmish down the O-Sworn if the barbarian army's rushing at him. And that's kind of what we saw with Llewellyn and Prussian Prince in their game 1 in the Dignitas Invitational, is that it was Anemo Ticena, and it was Armenia versus Boya, I think. And Llewellyn just put the pressure on Prussian Prince. He just ran at him all game long, pretty much never stopped running at him. And I think that's a good strategy. Like, it doesn't always work, as Celtic warriors get absolutely decimated by a cataphract charge here. It doesn't always work, as we saw Prussian Prince win that game. But remember that even really good players are going to make micro mistakes, and getting your foot archers, protecting them as you're running away and skirmishing can be really, really difficult. So, I don't know. If I was Maximus, I would definitely be running at this build. Try to kill the hoplites, get them off the field ASAP, and then maybe see if there's some openings to get your noble horse into the foot archers. But we'll see if waiting pays off for him. Elephant's going to charge into the Celtic warriors over here again. These aren't particularly important units, just kind of meat shields. A little bit of a waste there, to be honest. But it's a trade that Maximus can make, because Blademaster wasted his horse archers, so not the biggest deal. Elephant's got 50 kills there. Eastern Cataphract's up to 20. And then rest of this Celtic warrior is going to engage with the Eastern Spearman and probably do a decent amount of damage, but we'll see if this Cataphract comes in for a hammer and anvil. Looks like it is. Good charge. That Celtic warrior is going to be dead now. Alright, so kind of even so far with what units have been killed off the field. Neither army, of course, has lost anything extremely important that's going to like lose them the game. But I think the biggest thing right now is that O-Sworn unit being down to half strength. It's a big deal. In general, O-Sworn unit's not going to do a ton of damage to cataphracts if they're continuously charged, but you want them to be full HP when those cataphract charges come in so they don't just kind of get routed off the field ASAP. So I think that will probably factor into this game at some point. O-Sworn already being hurt so badly. Now the skirmishing is going to start in earnest. You're going to start whittling down the tribal warriors. Always difficult to do so from the front. I'd like to see Blademaster get some angles going where he's shooting from a few different angles, maybe spread out these groups a little bit more, and hit them not exactly from the front so that the shields aren't taking the brunt of all that damage. Because, I mean, you just aren't going to do very much damage to tribal warriors from the front. And actually, it looks like Blademaster's going to be the one taking the melee engagement here. Going to run forward, take some pretty big javelin throws here. Celtic skirmishers as well. Whittle them down. And then going to start shooting the O-Sworn again, down to 54 men. General died. Oh my god. General just died. That's big. That's really big for Parthia. And I think that was a mistake from Maximus. I don't think the general needed to be anywhere near the range of these archers yet, and the general's already dead. And you can see red morale for the Celtic skirmishers. It's a pretty big deal. Center here, some Levy Freemen getting engaged by the Persian hoplites. Tribal warriors throwing their javelins. Persian hoplite's gonna die. Not a big deal there, but now we're gonna be looking to see the cataphracts try to flank and get maybe some charges right up the center. Royal cataphract coming right up the middle. Should be a good charge. Tribal warriors not really braced for that, and they're in red morale already. Another cataphract charge over there, and cataphract's gonna be up against this raiding horseman and noble horse, and noble horse didn't get a charge. He tried to pull out there, I believe, and he wasn't able to. That's gonna be big there as well. Royal cataphract trying to break through the center, trying to get at the Celtic skirmishers. That's important. And here the Indian war elephants able to get in here, probably gonna be able to rout those Levy Freemen. Couple jab throws, but I mean Levy Freemen by themselves not gonna be able to kill elephants, and they're gonna get devastated on those charges. Some miss micro here from the foot archers, tribal warriors, and raiding horsemen gonna get caught. But in the center here, a lot of these tribals are already down to yellow morale. That's a big deal. Elephants running amok. We'll see if they can make their way into any units that are of importance. And in the center here, yeah, Blademaster's kind of gotten the micro slip a little bit. I didn't realize there's so much going on right now. But they're getting caught by tribal warriors, which they really shouldn't. They're much faster than tribals. So yeah, he's losing some skirmishers here, which is big. Like, a lot of these guys haven't shot too much. They've killed the general, which is great. But he can't afford to keep throwing away all these archer units. It's going to be a big deal late game if he doesn't have enough. Royal cataphracts coming in for hammer and anvil, and the tribals should do a lot of damage. But the unit wasn't really compact. They weren't cohesive at all. Kind of spread out, so they were trying to pull away from the Celtic skirmishers, and he didn't want to leave them in melee combat there, because if Maximus utilized those effectively, he could have killed the Royal cataphract pretty easily with 3. Yeah, they took a lot of losses there. Down to half strength. And so that charge wasn't actually great because the unit wasn't cohesive. But in general right now, game's pretty even at this point. Noble Horse doing better in this melee engagement than I thought they would. They really didn't get a good charge at all. And Eastern Cataphracts kind of even there. That's weird. In the center here, Elephants no longer amok. They're going to charge in. Tribals are going to get a return javelin throw, but Elephants not taking any losses yet. Not running amok yet either, and this is going to do a lot of damage. These units are going to be off the field relatively soon. But all the skirmishing power for Parthia is basically gone. Like, he doesn't have very many archers left at all, so it's going to be down to the cataphracts and the elephant, which I think are definitely enough to kill a build like Maximus's from Tylis, but we'll see if that hurts them. I mean, you really want to use those skirmishers in late game. They do so much damage if you can keep them alive, and Blademaster really wasn't able to do that. All of them are down half strength. Another unit right here is going to die. Yeah, his skirmishers are basically completely off the field, so Maximus should pull through there. It's basically a full, or 3/4 strength noble horse. Shouldn't be caught in melee by those eastern spears. That cataphract's going to rout over there. In the center here, continues to try to hammer and anvil the tribal warriors. And this is really good use of the Persian hoplites. Just try to tank the engagement for a while, keep them alive for as long as you can, and then just let a cataphract go to work on the back. And Maximus doesn't really have anything to prevent that at all. So, well, actually, he does have a noble horse coming in. We'll see if they try to tie down this royal cataphract. But royals are up to 92 kills now. Elephants up to 300. They have made their presence felt. A lot of those were on Levy Freeman, but a couple of those half-strength tribal warriors he routed as well. So, important. In general, is still alive for Blademaster, which is also a big deal. So, going to be resetting the situation now. This tribal warrior is dead. There's nothing he can do about that. He's going to try to pull away, but I don't really see them getting away from Indian war elephants. They're just going to kind of trample over him as he tries to escape. Yeah, they're about to rout for sure. Red morale. And now we're going to kind of reset the situation. So looking at the tools each player still has on the field, Cataphract, Royal Cataphract with 34 men, Eastern Cataphract with 28, another Eastern with 33, Eastern Spearmen, and 1 Parthian Foot Archer. Now, in a situation like this, where you only have 1 Foot Archer unit and a bunch of cavalry, I would say that their skirmishing power no longer really matters. He could do something here, and I'm going to be very interested to see it. Could do something with this unit, like send the elephants in and then shoot some fire arrows in there as a cataphract charge comes in. And if he stacks all those morale penalties effectively, this barbarian army without a general is going to mass rout. There's no question. There's not a lot left on the field for Maximus. I do feel like if Parthia takes good engagements here, he has the advantage. I think Maximus can win, but it's going to be pretty hard. I assume the javelins have a decent amount of ammo left. I could be wrong about that, but it's certainly enough to kill the elephants. But the problem is he doesn't really have anything that can prevent them from just charging in, so he's going to have to like probably sacrifice one of these Levy Freeman or a jab unit and then have the other two focus fire and hope that's enough to kill them. But I doubt Blademaster's going to just send them in unsupported. I think he's smart enough to realize that some cataphract charges first to soften up the skirmishers or prevent them from firing will be a bigger deal. So we'll see here. I want to see if he uses those Parthian foot archers for a morale debuff with the fire arrows as the elephants and cataphract charges come in. I think that'd be really cool to see, but I'm not sure. He just changed to precision shot. That's interesting. I mean, they simply can't do very much damage at this point. Only 17 men. But this final engagement will come soon. And Elephant's edging ever closer to the barbarian main line. Gonna see if he can bait out some of these skirmishers, I think. And Eastern Cataphract's kind of baiting as well, so very, very patient right now. This could go either way. Remember, if Maximus wins this game, Blademaster is out of the tournament, so Blademaster has to win to advance to a deciding Game 3. And Cataphract Charge is going to come in, do a lot of damage to those Oathsworn. They're not going to do anything at this point. Just too few men left in the unit. The charge should really hurt them. Cataphract's coming up the center. Eastern Cataphract charging Levy Freeman and into the Noble Horse, but he actually didn't charge the Noble Horse. He tried to charge through into the skirmishers. 2 javelin units shooting into the elephant. They're dropping now, down to 12. Many less elephants. They're losing a lot of HP now, and they're running amok back into the archers. Cataphract charge of the center. Should do a decent amount of damage. There's wavering on this Celtic skirmisher line. Cataphract's coming in from behind. Will be able to rout the general's unit right here. And there's mass wavering. Noble Horse is... They're all in red morale. This is going to be a mass rout real soon, I think. Balance bar shifting in Parthia's favor. Another charge coming in. Noble Horse about to rout. Yeah, they're dead. Main line of Celtic skirmishers gone, and this last unit of Celtic skirmishers is not going to be able to run away from the elephants who are no longer rampaging and running amok. So, good game to Blademaster. Unless something, a miracle happens here for Tylis, I think he's done. Yep, that's mass wavering at this point. It's over. Really well played from Blademaster. A lot of things to say about that battle. I thought it was very good use of elephants for the most part. 371 kills is really good. Definitely got their money's worth there. Definitely think it was a mistake from Maximus to let his gen get shot like that. And I don't know if he was just afraid to run away because he felt like he'd get shredded if he mistimed it and lose even more men. But when the general was only down to like 50 men, he lost his general. And that definitely hurt him in the melee engagement. And just in general, the morale and fighting prowess of his soldiers kind of decreased after a general died. That's not a good thing at all for barbarian rushes. For Rome and Hellenic factions, it's not always a big deal if your general dies, but definitely a big deal for Tylis, for Galatia, those kind of units. Unless Galatian legionnaires are disciplined. I'm not actually sure if they are. But you know what I mean. Barbarian sword rushes in general, they really need that general to be alive. Blademaster, he knows he mismicroed these horse archers. It's not cost effective at all. Didn't do very well with them. But didn't seem like he needed to at the end of the day. I mean, it was very close, and I'm sure he would have liked to have those guys alive at the end of the fight there. But in general, really good game from him. I think the skirmish side of things needs some work, at least in that game. I think he could have done a much better job skirmishing. And it was kind of surprising that this build worked so well with the skirmishing not going as well as he would have liked it to. I think the biggest reason that this build actually ended up working against the Tylis build was because the general died. And if it hadn't, I think that this would have just lost. Because if you look at the kills, normally if you're going to bring a build like this and beat a Tylis build, you need to have a lot of kills on these guys. They have to do a lot of HP damage and a lot of killing. And none of them really did. I mean, 50 was the most. But they managed to kill the most important unit on the field, which was the Oathsworn. So, from that standpoint, really good. And I like that he brought some of these melee units. You don't always see it, but I think it's good to bring some really cheap spears with Parthia just to give the Royal Cataphracts and the Eastern Cataphracts some kind of anvil to hammer with. But good use of the Raiding Horsemen from Maximus. Good use of the Noble Horse. Got a lot of those kills on the javelins, but definitely missed micro with the Oathsworn, letting them get killed. And we're going to a Game 3. Really excited to bring that one to you guys as well. It's been a good series so far. And I'm looking forward to seeing the final game and who will advance to the finals in the best of 5 and see who goes on to win this tournament. And maybe one of these players will. So, good luck to both players. I'll see you all in Game 3. Indie Pride signing out.